So you came as a powerful teacher with all of that energy into an environment that is bickering about just about everything. Nobody likes anybody very much anywhere anymore, it seems like. So it's no wonder it's a little hard to take, because you come from all of this knowing of all of this well-being. So it's a bit of a rocky ride, but here you are, so early in your experience, with a vortex well enough formulated for an 80 or 90 or 120-year-old, and still in the process of trying to define what's going on. So the conversation that we just had before you sat down is a really good basis to begin with here, because you heard us speaking about how you have to ignore what is and just focus upon what's in the vortex. And you were trying to describe some of what you think is in there. Who do you think you are? What is it that you want? What is it that you're looking for that you feel that you haven't been able to find? Because the most powerful and interesting thing that we heard from you and felt from you as you were describing, it was the purest rendition we've ever heard of someone who was simply trying to explain how awful it feels not to be in the vortex. In other words, you weren't saying, I want a car and I can't get it, I want a girlfriend and can't get it. You weren't saying, my mother doesn't understand me. You weren't saying, they're beating up on me in the playground. In other words, you weren't talking about anything other than this innate knowing that you're supposed to feel better than you do, and you don't know what to do about it. Isn't that right? Don't you love knowing how smart you are so fast? Because these old guys, because almost everyone else, in other words, by the time we meet most people, they've settled in to wanting something other than alignment. And so we have to start way. We just have to deconstruct everything that they've ever thought about everything to get them to understand. And you heard us just say the last thing just now to this mother, that we said we're going to give, now here is the test. Why do you want to get into the vortex? Do you want to get into the vortex in order to fix a relationship or to get something that you don't have, or do you want to get into the vortex because that's who you are and that's where you belong? And that's what you came here to say. In other words, I want to be in the vortex because I know I'm supposed to feel good. I'm supposed to feel proud of me and proud of others. I'm supposed to feel good. Life is supposed to be fun. I'm sure. I remember it so deeply in every fiber of my being. Life is supposed to feel fun, and it isn't feeling fun. Something's off. Something's wrong. And all it is that you and almost everybody else you know, you just caught it earlier, so it'll be way easier for you. Because most everybody else felt it and then accepted, well, life isn't supposed to be fun. And that is the saddest story of all. Because when they accept that it isn't supposed to be fun and they acquiesce to the way that it is, they deprive themselves of the fullness of that which you are determined not to deprive yourself of. So what you do, you just do it a little bit at a time. You catch yourself in the vortex and then you milk it. And you think about, what is it that feels good about this? And you just play it over and over in your mind. And when you find something that doesn't feel good, you do your best to try to ignore it. And you say things to yourself like, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just more understanding of emotions. I'm feeling my guidance system in a stronger way. My guidance system is going to serve me earlier and younger than almost anybody else, and I'm going to get a handle on this. In fact, I've already got a handle on it. And then just what Esther does, because Esther has found herself really sensitive to energy, and like you, when she thinks about something, even if it's something that is a reality that normally she might think she needs to do something about, it's painful to focus upon it. And so she's just coming more and more to the place where when she finds things that are painful to focus upon, it's just not worth it. In other words, let humanity take care of humanity. Or, in other words, nothing is worth sacrificing your alignment with who you are. So The best thing that we found, there are a handful of things that we can give you that will make you feel good right away. Do you ever spend time meditating?
Yeah, so sometimes I try. It's kind of hard to not think about stuff for me a little bit.
Well, if you meditate before you're thinking about stuff, it's easier.
Yeah, yeah.
Because once stuff gets started, it's hard to not think about it.
Right, yeah.
So if you meditate earlier in the day before anything gets a head start, that's a real quieting your mind. And a good way to do it is focus upon some sound, like a condenser in an air conditioner, or a fan, or some white noise, or turn your radio on between stations and listen to the static, or something that has a sort of consistent sound that you can listen to that will distract you. And it's like putting your brain on pause. And as you quiet your mind by distracting yourself, and you could sit for 15 minutes and your mind could wander through most of it. And if you found 15 or 20 seconds of a quieted mind, you've served yourself really well, because during that quieted mind, you go into the vortex and you practice the vibration of alignment. And these are the words that we most want you to hear. Whatever you're thinking about causes you to practice the vibration of it. But the vibration of who you really are, you don't need to worry. You don't need to worry that things are going to distract you from who you really are, because ultimately, we promise you that's not possible. Who you really are is a really powerful, pulsing vibration. And if it weren't so, you wouldn't feel so awful when you're out of sync with it, you see. So the analogy or the comparison, one time a woman said to us, Abraham, I have a friend who's really negative and I'm really positive. And we acknowledged that she was mostly positive, but she said, my friend is healthy as a horse and I've got all of these diseases. It's not fair what's going on. And we said, there are two factors. The power of your desire is one factor, and where you are in relationship to it's another factor. So if someone called you on the telephone and said, hello, you don't know me, I'm just calling to tell you I'll never call you again, you would say, all righty, thanks for letting me know, goodbye. You wouldn't feel any tension about that. But if someone you cared about said that to you, you would feel tension. So the point that we're making with you is, as we talked about you hitting the ground running with all this fast moving energy, is that your vortex is really spinning in a strong way, and when you get out of sync with it, you feel it more powerfully than someone whose vortex isn't spinning so fast, or someone who's not sensitive to the energy of it. So it is our promise to you, you could not think enough negative thoughts to ever do yourself any damage. Are you hearing us? In other words, you don't need to worry, and you don't need to get it perfect. And this is the point that you're helping us make in the most powerful way that we've ever made it. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1 says ask, and contrast is necessary for that. And so you've got to have some outside the vortex time. Our message to all of you is not get in the vortex and stay there. If that were your intention, you would be dead like us. That is not your intention. There is not dead. There's just life and more life and more life. But you get what we mean. You came to explore contrast so that you could put things there. Now we want to explain something to you that we think you'll feel. We think you've actually been feeling it. This is going to explain it. So you know what you don't want, which causes you to know more clearly what you do want. And there's a momentary spike in that vibration. In other words, when you know what you don't want, you know for a moment, because the vibrations are going this way. We always demonstrate them this way, but on the sound file that Esther looks at, they go this way. So when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. There's a spike. Those spikes are captured and contained by source. So the drama that you've been living, or the intensity that you've been living, has caused you to put so much into that vortex that now you kind of have to live up to it, or you feel the discord of not living up to it. And that's what you were describing, a really accurate way of saying it. Given what we've just explained back to you, your words would have been something like, well, Abraham, I don't know how, because my life seems pretty normal, but I feel like I have a stronger desire than I can even really explain, and I don't know how to become a vibrational match to that desire, because I don't really know how it got there. And we say it got there because of the pre-intention that you had coming into this physical experience.